That farthest line of mountains over there is West Virginia. We're headed to Monterey, which is in Highland County. And we're going to see Allegheny Lutherie. This is Ben's place. Ben makes awesome guitars, and I'm super excited to go see him. Come on.
Still see, can't get it out of my mind. Started counting up the losses, weight sinking, water began to rise. Reaching in the darkness.
Man, look at this place. Hey, man.
Hey there.
Hey, I'm Jeremy.
Ben, nice to meet you.
Ben, good to meet you.
Yeah.
Ben, is this your place?
This is my place.
Dude, this is so cool. What is...
Yeah, it's an old paint store. My landlord
Okay.
I
saw
ran a paint store here for like 30 years, and then she stopped probably in like the last decade or so.
What's the name of your business?
Allegheny Lutherie.
So in August, you moved from Michigan to here?
In about June, I moved from
Okay.
Michigan back here. My parents live out, 15, 20 minutes toward Franklin.
Okay.
So just over the line.
Got it. Yeah, so because we're in Monterey, which
Yep.
is a beautiful part of Virginia. It's kind of like in that jagged side of Virginia.
Yep.
It's like pretty far west. But it's like, I told you a second ago, it's like coming over here, it's like coming into the Shire. This like spiritual experience of...
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is why, if I sit here and working on any day and I look out, the people walking up and down the street, it's mostly older people.
Yeah.
A lot of people come here to retire and stuff.
What's this thing?
This is one of my models. It's a
Looks like an
Padgett
OM?
Model 1. It's kind of my own shape. It's based off of an OM.
Can I open this up?
Yeah.
I don't want to mess it up. I'll let you
No,
do
it's
it.
alright. It's a little weird. You gotta hold it while you loosen. It has a pretty wide bout on it. This is actually, it's just over 16 inches. I mean, it's slightly on the other side. It's actually a little bit longer too than like a dreadnought. So it's kind of like a slip-shouldered dreadnought, but almost approaching jumbo stage.
But it's like you added the extra on this end.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
the
is
shoulders
cool.
aren't terribly wide.
Okay.
But I've made one other in this shape before, and it's out
Super resonant.
in Idaho, and it sounded great.
Awesome.
That one was all North American, domestic, or sustainably harvested woods and stuff like that. This is obviously not. It's Cocobolo.
Yeah.
But
So the top is Engelmann.
This is Engelmann spruce.
Okay.
Got
Such beautiful tight grain.
some Cocobolo little keystones that I put together from the back
Oh, cool.
and sides, and then Cocobolo back and sides on it.
I love Cocobolo. Just looks magical.
Yeah, and I know you're not supposed to smell it, but I love the smell of it.
Wait, just like when you're sanding it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta wear a mask or something when I'm sanding on it.
Because that's the same as like walnut as well, and there's certain.
Pretty much any wood dust is technically carcinogenic.
Yeah.
But a lot of the this is a genuine rosewood. It is in the rosewood family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a Dalbergia. So especially any of those rosewoods, they're not good for your lungs or anything.
Sure.
So
It's beautiful.
yeah, it was a little heavy. I have if you want to hold this, I'm building twins, kind of.
Now, will this be a dovetail, or are you gonna do bolt? Whoa.
I'm doing bolt-on.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm gonna set this one down. You can take this one if you want. It's a lot lighter, right?
Holy cow. That's way lighter.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like... I mean, I've heard Cocobolo is heavy. But that's, like, substantially lighter.
So this is mahogany.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Can I have this one?
Can you have it?
Can I buy this one?
I'd love to give it to you, but I have to be able to sell it. Yeah.
Or can I buy this one at some point?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm getting all these pieces and parts put together, and they should be kind of clicking, snapping together here pretty soon. I just made these the other day. They are heel block scarf
Okay.
joint, so it's not solid, but
Yeah. And scarf joint is where headstock and fingerboard and neck.
yeah, it's where this piece right here
Got it.
was basically, I can get another thing and it'll be easier to show you. This came the same way, so it's
Got it.
basically a neck block
Okay.
and then a heel block. So you glue this to here.
And then you.
That's where you get this from,
Okay.
right? And you
So
cut a lot out.
there's a glue joint. Oh.
A glue joint right here.
Oh man, it's so you can like barely see it.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. And then around here, obviously we don't have enough room, but if I were to cut my 14-degree angle here and dress those edges, I could glue this piece to the back and it would come back at an angle. So that's what I did here. That's the scarf joint.
So it's the same piece of wood, just cut.
Same piece of wood. I just cut that here, clean it up so that it's, it can be glued, and then glue it right to there. And here are just locating pins that I put in, just little dowels, just so it didn't slide all over the place, because it likes to slide all over the place.
Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah.
So what's the inlay? The inlay on this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's
It looks like those those electric guitars, the real burly maple stuff.
it is burl.
Okay.
I've got some more of it here. I made quite a bit of it. Honestly, I really like this stuff, but it takes a lot of time.
It looks like it.
And I feel like it's not going to be in my like baseline of guitars.
Yeah.
Because that rosette alone probably took me 2 or 3 days or something.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Yeah. But if you can get like.
well, and all these other little chunks, but it's basically Cocobolo.
Yeah.
And then this is a dyed and stabilized ash burl.
That is so cool. And what's the name of your brand?
Padgett Guitars. My
Padgett.
last name.
Okay.
Padgett.
It's such a cool shape.
Yeah.
Like it. I don't know. Yeah. Just makes sense. As someone who's just been dorky and loved guitars my whole life.
Especially with a wider bout like this, like,
Yeah.
it's already, pretty loud.
Yeah.
The back on this too is pretty low.
Here's a question I had coming over. What shortcuts are you not okay with in guitar building?
What shortcuts? I have no issue with a bolt-on neck acoustic. There are so many out there. Huss and Dalton does a bolt-on. As a matter of fact, because they worked at Stelling and they learned how to build banjos first, they don't have a neck joint like any other I've ever seen before. I mean, it's like that pin, the locating pin, and then one bolt. I mean, it's like this whole thing. I came from the Gallup school and we learned mortise and tenon.
Yep.
2 bolt holes accessible through the head block, and you cover those up so you don't have to see them with just a little badge, just double stick tape. And it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Because that's basically like the Martin 16 series and down.
Yeah. It's my opinion that like 99% of the things that people think contribute to tone doesn't.
Like what? Let's pick some fights.
Pick some fights. People put a lot of stock in back and sides. I'm not going to say back and side material doesn't matter, because it does. It doesn't matter nearly as much, I don't think, as the quality of your top, how you treat the top braces, whether you voice it, how you voice it. Most of your sound, volume, tone is coming from your top. An acoustic guitar body is basically like a drum. You have the sides that are meant to be very rigid, right? Not that they don't contribute to tone, but there have been lots of studies. People have found that, when you have very rigid sides, laminated sides, something like that, you're basically helping couple the top and the back better by eliminating any like weird overtones you might get from the sides.
That's a good point.
So you could basically voice your top and your back
Okay.
to certain frequencies, and you're not going to have any leaching of energy, sponginess out of your sides. It's basically just there to, to keep everything together.
Cool.
So snare drum, this is your shell. Not that that doesn't matter. People go crazy about snare drum shells all the time, but your top, your fundamental.
That thing is so resonant.
I basically glued my top to my sides without gluing the back on yet.
Okay.
And tapped on it into my phone into FFD software.
Oh, okay.
And I kept removing material from the wing braces here and the lower
cool.
X braces until I got to my desired frequency.
Okay.
And that was, I believe this one is about 147 hertz. Now that does change when you glue the back on.
Yeah.
And the back was different. because you have to be able to simulate that tension of it being glued to the
Got it.
sides, right? So you have to have a jig for that. Yeah.
So here's my next question.
Uh-huh.
Is the best guitar in front of us or behind us?
I think that we're constantly learning from the past. We're, you know, especially out here in Appalachia, people hold Martin to the standard, right? That is the canon.
Is that herringbone?
Yeah. So out here in bluegrass country, D18 is king, D28, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's 30s, 40s, you know,
Sheesh, yeah.
or 50s, 60s kind of thing. But and don't get me wrong, Martins are great. I absolutely love Martins. But we're learning now, decades down the road, where certain things were wrong. You are skirting a line here, and I'm sure you've heard people say, when you build an acoustic guitar, you're skirting a line between it lasting 200 years and it sounding good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people say that guitars sound better later, is because they've been seasoned, they still continue to lose moisture,
Yeah.
they get lighter over time, they kind of settle into what they are over time, you know, the wood starts
Yeah.
to like make sense as an instrument over time, and so you get this better tone. And there are lots of things like thermo curing wood that we do now. That's a whole other rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
But also just the way that we put things together. Does it have to be hot hide glue construction? No, I don't think so. Does it have to be a traditional French dovetail?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I do like. So I will say this. I do like French dovetails. When I taught at Gallup, the archtop class is the only class in that school, in that program, the master program, where you learn a French dovetail.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that's a French dovetail construction. It has F-holes. There's no real way to access bolts.
That makes sense.
So it has to be.
Yeah, both. Okay.
So I have set,
Mm-hmm.
helped set,
Reset.
and reset lots of French dovetails.
Yeah.
And with that, it has a supported tongue.
Yep.
So from the 14th to the 16th is also fit to the top. So you have the tongue fit to the top, which is a contoured arch top.
Mm-hmm.
You have the heel fit to the shoulders.
Yeah.
And you have the sides of the mortise fit to the, or sides of the tenon fit to the mortise. So there are three things you're fitting there. It's this whole thing.
My gosh.
And I will say that just because I like hand tools, I like old things, I really enjoyed that process. But if I'm making flat top guitars, unless someone's paying me extra for it, it's going to be bolt-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your take on finishes?
Well,
Polyurethane all the way.
Poly, yeah. So in here, I'm sure you haven't seen a spray booth. I'm not going to be able to spray guitars here.
Okay.
And right now, I'm not going to be outsourcing it either.
Okay.
I do know people that, you know, do finishes.
Yeah.
I could send them the guitar, and for $400 or $500, they could finish
Yeah.
it, send it back, and ready for a setup kind of thing. But
But ideally you would do nitro.
I learned nitro.
Not ideally, but just
I learned nitro. What I don't, so nitro looks great.
yeah.
It's, I would say, maybe not as hardy of a finish as poly.
Mm-hmm.
A little more durable than shellac, but you know, it's right there in the middle. And I also like the way that nitro looks over time. You know, it allows the wood to look good. I like the way that it checks. That looks great.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't like about nitro is it's cancer. It is pure cancer. Working with it, you know, after you're out of the spray booth, you're wet sanding. Even when you're wet sanding, it's still on your hands, it's in your clothes. It's, I mean, it's all.
Yeah.
And you know, like UV cured poly finishes and stuff like that, they're very durable. That's all. But that's a huge expense to be able to put out there for that system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some tens of thousands of dollars probably.
Sheesh.
So, to do it right, you know.
And to get people on every question, they're like, now is that a nitro finish? Because they've been conditioned to say like nitro is the best.
Yeah.
And all of that comes back to the question of like, I think a lot of people think that the best guitars are behind us.
Yeah.
But I think that's wrong. Like I think that
I don't think that they are.
I think the best guitars are definitely in front of us.
I think that we're learning from the past. You cannot deny, you know, the heritage, the history of Martin and of Gibson and of stuff like that, right? And those guitars are great. And like I said, I grew up in a family where everything was antique. I grew up in a log cabin, you know, that my dad built. He's a carpenter.
What?
So
That's
like,
cool.
and part of the house was like from the 1830s, but
I mean, this is such a cool, unique design, and it like makes my heart so happy to see like a new design, like a new thought, instead of like it's like a D18, but and you're like no, just like make a badass guitar.
Yeah.
Like this is super cool, man.
I like it. I do want to design a smaller one.
Yeah.
You know, maybe with a bout width of like 14.5 inches or something like that. I like parlors. Parlors are great.
I thought about bringing my Waterloo.
Oh yeah, Waterloos are great.
Yeah.
My dream guitar is a 1936 0021 Martin. That is my dream guitar.
I have a friend that lives in Stanton. It's not 30s, but he has a 71 0021 that is amazing.
They're great.
Slot headstock, feather light.
Yeah. Now, 1936 0021 is going to run me at least $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one day I'll be there. But
you can make one. That's the skill set.
I can make one except the Brazilian. I don't have the Brazilian.
Yeah.
You know.
You can do Coco Bolo and just lie to people.
That's true. It's the same thing.
Nah, that's Brazilian.
Same
I
thing.
build guitars. Don't have it.
So that's that stabilized dyed maple or ash burl, I believe. A piece that I cut out of the rosette, or cut the rosette out of. But so I like saving little scraps of wood and use them later on for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in here I have a lot of tools, some wood, but it's mostly tools in here. Some repairs. This is something a customer dropped off, doesn't even know what it is, doesn't know what he wants done to it, he just wants me to research it. Haven't gotten to that yet. So, couple auto harps that I need to restring. Auto harp strings are no joke.
Yeah, that seems terrible.
They're very expensive. And over right here in this room, I have a lot of kind of my guitar rack, guitars of mine, some customer guitars, and this is also just like where I'm staging things for now, storing things for now until I can find a proper place for them. I've got my Go deck there. I've got wood all over the place. That's my side laminating mold for my shape down there. It says Sketty because there were other Bens when I was at the Gallup School, and I made spaghetti one time, so I was known as Sketty.
That's awesome.
But yeah, just huge laminating mold.
That's cool.
And then this is my wood. Here, this is all mahogany. This is all domestic. So down here I have maple, I have some cherry, and I have a lot of walnut. And I think there's some quarter sawn white oak in there too. Down here is all exotic. That's domestic, by the way. I don't know if I said exotic. Down here is exotic. So this is Wenge. And then I've got Indian rosewood. All kinds of stuff. There's a lot of Coco Bolo and stuff back there.
Is this Purple Heart or is this mahogany?
This is Padgett.
Okay. Beautiful.
So I just bought these from Woodcraft. This is all softwoods. So this is all my top material. I believe this is all, I think this stack, I have it labeled somewhere, is all Engelmann. This stack, I think it's Sitka. Most of this is Engelmann. I have some Sitka in here. Down here, this is Redwood. My dad actually pulled this out of a dumpster.
What?
Yep. And for how big it is, just feel how...
Whoa. Yeah, that's not...
super light. So you can hear...
That is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a bell.
Yep.
Dude, thanks for showing me this stuff.
Yeah. One more thing. This is actually an old bleacher board.
Hey.
That came out of Delta College in Michigan.
What?
And
that's crazy.
It sounds pretty good.
Is it spruce of some sort?
No, it is
pine?
Douglas fir.
What?
A little heavier than the redwood,
Yeah.
but really tight grain. Very, very tight grain. I mean, like within an, they say like grain lines per inch. Within an inch, it's probably close to 20 grains per inch. So
super tight.
pretty tight.
Yeah.
my fretboard leveling beam. I'm just holding that up against this granite block, up against that, so it's nice and square. I'm just doing this to ensure that it's completely flat. If I were to do it by hand, I could roll that. This wouldn't be square to its face or to the back, and also, you know, it could be rounded, and you could get dips in it this way. So I'm trying to keep it as plumb, straight, square. This is not going to be a bound fingerboard.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to see the ends of the frets. I might use my tang nipper and nip them back a little, and then fill the slots.
Cool. Yeah. Well, how do people find you?
How do people find me? You can find me through Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Allegheny_Lutherie and at Padgett Guitars. So
okay, perfect. So I'll put all the links and stuff in the description in this video. This was so fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for showing me around. Yeah. Let me know when those guitars are ready.
Will do.
I want to come over.
Very nice meeting you, and I'd like to see you again.
Awesome, man. Cool. Check out Allegheny Lutherie.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, buddy. I'll see ya. It's been super fun showing you guys Allegheny Lutherie. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, their website. Such a good dude. I'm excited. See you later.
Ready to fall.